Just before we do go, there are a couple of people who won't be available for selection this week. Massimo DeLutis, who's still carrying an injury, he's probably 4 or 5 weeks away in that vicinity. Connor Anderson, a very similar timeline. Max Craig, possibly 2 weeks. He'll be back in play. We're just checking on Angus Blythe at the moment for a slight situation that may put him out of this weekend. And James O'Connor won't be available either. He's probably still another 3 weeks away, maybe 4.
I guess that for James, that's a real disappointment, because when I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, he said he was having a great pre-season, he was really happy, his body felt excellent, and then I think 2 days later he pulled a finger hammy. So how much of a blow is it to lose a guy of his experience?
Well, you don't like losing people like James, do you? So, he was flying. He was going extremely well. But the truth is, and I've said it from the day one, we've got 4 good options there, and all the other options are playing well. They've had a good exposure at the end of last season in the Challenger Series, in the Wild Knight Series, and in the 2 trials. We've seen Lorso, Harry and Tom have a good run at it. So while one guy goes down, I think overall the whole squad's got competitive right across the positions, and that's what I love about the team at the moment.
Do you know who's going to... Can you tell us who's got their nose in front, who's going to start at 10 this weekend?
No.
I guess you've got two really young, talented guys there in Liner and Lachlan Phillips. Like, what are they bringing to the side that it's youthful but slightly different players, but obviously so much potential and talent too?
Well, I think all the 10s that are there, Harry, Tom, Lorso, they have a good disposition about themselves. They don't get flustered too easily, but both play play slightly different. Harry just brings that real robust at the line. He's a triple threat for sure. Still a lot to learn in his game, but nothing seems to faze him. Tom, he's carried a couple of niggles over the last 12 months, but when he's played at this level, you've seen what he can do. He's got speed at the line, he's got a really good pass, and he's kicking games right to the fore, so that those strengths come to play. And Lorso is just, he's more rounded across all aspects of the game, and he's an exceptional goalkeeper as well, because 7 points is better than 5 any day, and a good goal kicker does matter.
Have you got any reservations about giving a guy a debut in round 1 against the Waratahs and big crowd at Suncorp in Harry? Yeah.
No reservations at all, if that was to be the case. I believe in the only way you get experience is to play, and I like my players to play as much as possible. The age of a guy or the experience of a guy is not the major concern, it's about the collective. I do like to make sure if I put a young guy in that they've got support structures around him and experience in the right positions to support him. So if that was to happen, I'll make sure that is the case. But look, it's a competitive position, like other positions are as well. And while it gives you some angst in terms of how to select that, it also is a nice situation to have.
Just with James, he's obviously getting on now, 1-year deal. An injury like this, you feel like he's coming from a long way back anyway, given his injury at the end of last year. Is he running out of time to have an impact for you this year? Like, how much
his impact's been from day one. This guy's committed. He's like an extra coach in a way. He's absolutely adding value on many levels. He's part of an extended leadership group, support for the 2 guys up the top there. He's watching vision. He's talking to all the 10s, talking to the young guys constantly about how they can improve their game. So he's having his impact, don't worry about that.
If a guy like him, if he's fit, do you just try and find a place for him straight away, or will it be a case of...
I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Look, it's not cold-hearted, but sometimes you just got to move on from the blokes who are injured, make sure they're looked after and they get the right type of feedback and rehab work, and use them in the right way, as we are with James in terms of his intellect in the game. But I've got to focus on the players that will play on the weekend. And also we have another game, a development game that's going to be played as well. So every player that's fit will get a run this weekend in some form, which will be great for us as well.
But if James was fit, would it be slotted in the flight half?
Well, he's not fit, so it's not really something I can consider.
So with that flight half position, is he going to be either Harry or Tom?
I've got three options, and that's Lawso, Harry and Tom.
What can you take out of the big trial win against the Tars 2 weeks ago? I mean, everyone's kind of keeping their cards a bit close to their chest in a game like that. So, what can you take out of that?
I think nothing. It sounds funny to say it, but look, this is a great rivalry, isn't it? You know, New South Wales, Queensland at Suncorp. You know, they're coming to our home turf. We know that any Queensland versus New South Wales team versus each other in any form it's bloody tough, and it's exciting. It's rivalry at its best, and those are the occasions that we all live for. I certainly do. It's in my blood, and I love those occasions. So I'm really looking forward to making sure that we don't take for granted what happened 2 weeks ago in Roma. You know, there were some good things happen, but I know the Waratahs will bounce back. I worked with them for 6 years. I know what they're capable of and what it means to them. So we won't take things for granted. We're expecting a very committed team, a team that will come at us hammer and tong and really challenge us. But that's what you expect, and that's what we respect for the occasion. But you know, this is real. You know, Queensland versus New South Wales on our home turf. We just got to be ready to make sure we're our best, because it'll take our best to beat them.
Have you decided on the team right now, or are you still deciding on a couple?
We're just nutting down a few things. I've got a further medical meeting in the next hour, which will just finalise things for us.
Back row, how's the options looking there?
Well, it's healthy, but you know, Connor Anderson's injured at the moment. You know, he was going great guns before Christmas, and unfortunately had an injury. You know, when you look at what we have at our disposal, there's some good experience there. You know, we can put together good experience in that back row, and we've got some young guys like Johnny Bryant, Joe Bryle sitting on the edges as well, which adds value to the whole mix. I'm excited about the competition there is for those places. I wouldn't hesitate in picking any of them really, so that's exciting for me. Yeah.
Do you believe it's still the case that the forwards have to show their presence and have to somewhat exert dominance or parity for, I suppose, to open that room up to the back line and therefore to try and get a first up win?
Yeah, that's important to get parity. You know, they're going to come at us in the forward pack. There's no doubt about it. That's where they'll attack us. So we need to be able to be up for that challenge and relish that challenge. It's what you want. You know, in a way, there's a lot of the old story, isn't it? Mates against mates, because they know each other so well. But you know, they'll be testing each other. So you know, they'll be trying to make sure their backs get some room through their forward pack. We'll be attempting to do the same.
Ask one more question about James. How was he when he found out that he's not going to be available?
Yeah, it sort of floated into that naturally. It was, you know, over the last 2 weeks we're hopeful a bit of a movement there, but it's going to take a few more weeks before we get that right. So, but you know, I would say that it was when the injury happened, he was downbeat for one day. The next day he was in saying, "Give me some vision. What can I do to help?" And that's just what you expect from someone of his quality. His experience is coming through for us. But he won't be out there doing it. There'll be some other boys doing the job for us this weekend.
Change to the kicking offside rule. Is that any adjustments?
Yeah, it's exciting. I think it's good. Ultimately, it gives everyone a chance to play some possibly more counter footy. But teams can still take it into a ruck and then set up a caterpillar and kick it again if they want. You know, so you can still play that way if you want, but at least it opens up space. That's the way I think most coaches would prefer it. I'm pretty sure New South Wales would prefer it that way as well. Every Kiwi team would definitely prefer that. So we're happy with it. We know that we could grow certain aspects of our game through that law change for sure.
I think from a rugby supporters base, there's a lot of excitement with the Reds this year with some changes, new coach, a lot of things. What can the fans expect?
Well, it's New South Wales at Suncorp. It's going to be tough for a start, but you know, the calibre of players they've got, you have to be wary. We are wary. We have to be sure that we understand what it'll take. And if we can produce the base standard of what we expect of ourselves, we're in the hunt. That's all I know. And if there is an inclination to get out and support us there, anyone, we're the only oval ball game in town at the moment. So get out there and support us. But you'll see a team that'll fight for every inch. That's what I expect, and that's what they expect of themselves. There's a sense that they believe they have the capacity to do really well. So I expect that they'll chance their arm a bit, have a shot at opportunities, see how good they can be in terms of expressing their talent. But we all know that's on the back of getting the right things right. That's our set piece and our defence particularly.
As far as when there's a new coach, is obviously new style of play. When we were talking to players a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking to Harry Wilson, and he was really excited about the way you guys want to play and some of the freedom that he's got. He's obviously got an incredible highlights reel over the last couple of years and can do things that a guy of his size can't do. What have you seen from him this pre-season, and what have you liked from him?
Yeah, well, Harry's, he had a disappointing end of last year, didn't he? Didn't quite get some of the opportunities that he was hoping for. So when I first met him, I could see a driven young man who had impressed immensely throughout the Super Rugby. So I just see a man with a bit between his teeth. He's got very good timing. It's no secret the carrying threat that he does have. I know at the end of last season when he went and played for Brothers for the back end of the season, he worked on his link game as well and support game in that way, becoming a decoy more. So just trying to build more tools for him as a player. That wasn't off my bat. It was off his own bat that he wanted to grow those things. And with Zane Hilton and Jonathan Fisher working with him on a day-to-day basis, I think he's improving those things. He's got a great presence on the field. He's got his own style of leadership. He brings boys along with him. He's enthusiastic. He understands how he fits and how important he is to the team. So I expect to see someone who's just going to go full bore to find out how good he can be in the weekend. But he's an impressive young man. I think we'll see some good stuff this weekend from him.
One of the things that he talked about is over the last couple of years is like mistakes. He was encouraged not to make mistakes, right? So he sort of go into his shell a little bit, like he didn't want to play too attacking, didn't want to throw offloads, but he feels a bit more that he's got an opportunity to express himself. Or is that something that you want to instill in? Like, you get a guy with talent like that, can do some special things to take the reins off him and let's see what he can do?
Well, I certainly want all the players to be skillful, be smart, skillful, make good decisions. So Harry's got some remit to have a go, but he knows there's boundaries in terms of how you express that skill, and that's not for me to tell him what it is exactly. He'll find those out in those moments, and that's becoming a footballer, isn't it? There's an old saying back in the day was, great ball players were defined by the ones they don't throw. And if you think about it, that's true. You can throw every pass willy-nilly and have a guess, but it's understanding when and why and how much value it gives you and your mate. They're important, but I do like my guys to find out. I do expect them to be more on the side of finding out rather than stepping away from it and not doing anything at all. And with that comes a little bit of grief, but it's worth it, I think, as long as you've got good defensive systems that can shore up any mistake that does happen. But if you're skillful, you read the situation well, you make strong decisions. I think most of the time you come out on the right side of the ledger on those things if everyone's on the same page with that.
Les, you're, as you've called yourself, a little winger from Bundaberg. Why does Queensland, New South Wales mean so much to Queenslanders?
Yeah, look, as I said, it's in my blood. From day one, I just wanted to put a maroon jersey on. Now I've got a chance to wear a maroon jersey in a different way. It is the biggest rivalry in the country, I think, isn't it? When the maroon versus the blue, and that's in any form of sport. But it goes deep. It goes bone deep without a doubt, and it matters. And if someone comes to your ground, you've got to make it personal. I know they'll make it personal. For them, it's a pre-season they probably felt they should have got more out of. So we just expect they're going to come at us. So from our perspective, it's important that we represent our jersey well, represent our fans well, and represent the way that we've prepared in our game well. 2 weeks ago doesn't really matter. It's about this weekend coming up, and we need to make sure we're ready. They will be a tough proposition, but so will we.